Hey friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm playing with some really wonderful Stampin' Up! Supplies. These are part of the Friends for Life, and the Full of Life bundle. So the bundle had this stamp set. It had this 6x6 paper, which is really beautiful. It's super colorful. It was created using watercolor designs, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then of course there's the die set, and I did create a card. This is sort of a sneak peek of a card that will appear on my blog toward the end of April, and this is called the inlaid die cutting technique, and that's what I'm playing with today. And what I want to do today is to actually make a card for my technique album, and I almost have my book full. I've got probably now close to 50 techniques. For each technique I type up a little 3x4 card with the technique on it. I cut it out and then I add it with the technique to the side. And I've got all kinds of different techniques in here, and you know, it just goes through all kinds of different things. So today I want to add inlaid die cutting. I haven't really done any die cutting techniques for my album, but today I want to. Now you can get those printables that I make for all these techniques, and you can see all the videos that I've created for those techniques on my blog at stampingimperfection.com, and you will find a tab at the top that says 2024-2025 techniques. If you click on that tab, it'll take you to the page with all the videos and all the printables, which you can download for free. So that is something that since I was making it for myself, I thought I would share it with everybody. So I'm going to put this stamp set and this stamp set aside for now. I don't know whether I'll use it in a little while or not. But I want to, the version that I made for my card, I'll just pull this in here again. I used greens and I used a lemon lime twist, greens and blues, and a little bit of the purple color there. And I really liked the way that came out. But I thought this time I'd like to do some with like reds and, you know, focus on like slightly different colors to add. And there are a whole bunch of the papers are just gorgeous. So there's a whole bunch of those here. I used this piece for the last one, and this is really pretty. Here's one with reds I could use. That's really nice. That's what's on the back of it. And this is also very pretty. This would look nice as well. So I'm just going to pick one of these as I just flip through them, because I want something with a little bit of red and maybe some orange. That's really pretty too. And so far, and here you can see the, oops, crash. Here you can see the fronts of these. This is beautiful also. I'll pull that one out. All right, so I'm going to pick one and clean up my little mess here. I really like using techniques for my cards. So let's see. I want something where I'm going to get a lot of variation when I put this down. So I can probably find a spot where I'll get a bunch of variation. And I'm thinking I'm going to use, I have some scraps of Melon Mambo, which is going to be the outside of my heart, and I really do like this also. I could probably get a lot of colors in here. I think I'm going to use this one. All right, so I'm going to start by first die cutting out. I trimmed this down so I could actually get this in here, and hopefully I didn't trim it a little too much maybe. And so I've got the heart and I've got the inside of the heart. So I'm going to put these two together. I'm going to pull in my mini cut and emboss machine. I love adding new technique cards. This is a technique I've been doing for a really long time. But I finally decided that this is a good size to put in my technique album. Although you could do this with any die like this that's got the open pattern, basically. Or you can do it, there's lots of things you can do it with a simple die. Like it could be done with this as well. This says friend. These two layer together. This is like the outline version, and then this is like the shadow around it. You could do this technique with this set of dies as well. I've got a couple other videos on the inlay die technique, but I also have a lot of blog posts on my blog, because I have used it quite a bit over since I started my blog in 2012. I want to save all of these pieces, and so I'm going to just trim this off. I'm going to pull out, you end up with this little heart, which you can leave on there. I think that's actually a kind of a fun heart. And then you end up with this, and this one thing is still attached. So I'm just pulling out my paper snips, and I'm just going to snip this off. And I decided it looks like it is trying to like go outside the heart there. So I tried doing that. So you can do it like that. On my card, I just trimmed the whole thing right off. But I think this time I'm going to just leave it with that hanging off, because I actually really like the way that looks. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I hope this isn't too much. Let's see where this looks the best. I think the more color variation I can get in here, the more I'm going to like it. So I'm going to just trim this up a little bit so it fits in my little mini die cutting machine. Now in an ideal world, I would keep these all in order, but it didn't take me too long to piece them all together. And for this particular one, I'm not going to use these parts on this one. So now I have to die cut this again, and I'm going to go ahead and I want to use this part of this, but save those bits. So now I'm going to die cut this again on this paper. So I'm just going to go like this and tape that down. And I do tape it because there's two pieces to this die, and it will make it a lot easier. Before I remove this from my cutting plate, I'm going to just try to keep this on here for a minute. I'll put these other two plates aside. And I have this sheet of, this is an adhesive sheet. It's a double-sided sticky sheet, and this makes this technique so much easier if you have some of this. And it's definitely one of my favorite things to have on hand. So I'm going to cut down, let me see how big this is. This looks like a 3 by 3 square would be good. So I'm going to just bring this in 3 inches, whoops, wrong blade. And then I can put the rest of that aside, and then I'll cut 3 inches this way, just like that. So I cut the adhesive sheet at the same time. Then I can just take the adhesive sheet, and it just has this backing that just peels away like this, and I just need to stick it on. So you want to stick that down like this, and then peel the rest of it, and then just stick it onto the rest of it like that. And I'm going to peel the other backing sheet off. Before I do that, I am going to use my bone folder though, and I'm just going to burnish this a little bit to make sure that the adhesive is in fact sticking to my white paper. Now I want to peel this backing piece off here, and it'll leave the sticky stuff on there. I don't know if you can see that, but it is there. And then I'm going to take this heart piece and I'm going to stick this down just like this. And I am going to take a pair of old scissors that I don't mind getting adhesive on. Try not to put my fingers in it. Whoops, crash. And I'm just going to, with my old scissors, I'm not using my paper snips or my ribbon scissors or anything like that. And I do want to get as close to this as possible because I don't want the white to show around the outside edges. So I can trim it down a little better if I need to, but I don't want to cut that pink heart. So I'm just going to trim this down. And I've tried sticking this on to the back of the little pieces, but then you have to peel it off every individual little piece, which is super tedious, and it makes the project so much more tedious. And there are beautiful background dies that you can buy that are gorgeous for this technique. Now I'm going to, as carefully as I can, just remove that, and this piece isn't going to work out there, so I want to keep this other piece, the big piece, but as carefully as I can I'd like to remove this, and I would love it if I could get these pieces to stay in place. So I'm just going to kind of poke them out with my take your pick tool and see if I can, I did a really good job here. Quite proud of myself for that one. All right, so I can lift these up. It's helpful if you can do this. Otherwise, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to match them. Now, I want to save this piece because these Melon Mambo pieces can go inside there. So I can actually, this is the nice 2-for-1 technique. All right, so I'm going to use the clay end of my take your pick tool. All right, so now I already have adhesive in here and I don't have to worry about it so much. Now it's just going to be a matter of matching them up. So I'm going to start with this piece down here, and I can just match it up. So I'm just going to lay all these pieces in, and because I already used that adhesive, now it makes this so much easier. If you don't use the adhesive, you'll want to do something like this. This is actually my green glue. I bought these little bottles with these super skinny nozzles, and they just screw off, and you can just squeeze your green glue in. They've got these little caps, so when you use it, you just have to clean it off, and then you can put the little cap back on, and your glue lasts quite a long time in that. That's actually how I did my last one, because I did not I actually put the adhesive sheet on before I did the die cutting, and so the little pieces all had the adhesive sheet on. And the adhesive sheet really needs to be on whatever you have behind your heart so that it holds it down. Like, that's the best place, just like I showed you here, to put your adhesive sheet. So now it's just a matter of plunking these down in there, and this tool makes it so, this take your pick tool makes it so easy. If you don't have something like this, reverse tweezers are my second choice. Something like this, or you can just pick it up and you don't have to squeeze and hold it. It just automatically holds. Like that's my second favorite tool for this. And then I'm just going to go through here. And now I'm using this pretty watercolor pattern paper just because I wanted to get some variety of colors in my hearts. But you could use just two different colors that coordinated together. You could use two complementary colors, or, you know, two analogous colors, and mix it up that way. There we go. This one goes here. There we go. This one goes here. Now this is really going quickly because I was able to keep these fairly in order. Sometimes you kind of have to move them around and figure out where they go if you just have them in a pile, like I'm going to have to do for this one. So for the second one, I've got the first one all together there. I like the way that looks. I think that's pretty fun. It's a fun color combination, and I think it turned out really nice. So for the second one, I left this on so that when I was all done, I could push this down and give it a good rub. But now I can also see here where I'm cutting. So I can do the cutting with that paper sort of still on there. I can sort of see, I'm not going to get too close. I can trim this up when I have most of this other paper gone. And this will just lift right off of here. And I just have to do a tiny bit of trimming around the edges of there. But I did a pretty good job with the other scissors, and I think I'll go ahead and put these in here. So I did go ahead, I finished both of my hearts, and I put the one with the cardstock outline, that's the big piece with all the empty holes in it when you die cut out, and you know they intend for you to use that heart just like that. So you know, you can put a beautiful piece of pattern paper or pretty color behind it, or even some vellum or something, you know, metallic paper, some specialty paper. But the inlay die cutting offers you another option. And isn't this a pretty card? I just used a scrap of that full of life paper. I cut a panel of crumb cake cardstock down to 3.5 by 5, and I ran it through this is the mini corrugated embossing folder. I love this. It looks so good on the craft cardstock, and if you distress the edge, even better. I just didn't take the time to distress it this time. Then the sentiment came from this Wonderful Thoughts stamp set, which has a coordinating die set that looks like this, and it's pretty fabulous. I just got this today. It's been on my wish list for a while. Added some white twine and some white iridescent sequins, and that finishes off my card, and I think it's so pretty. It's pretty simple looking, but I love it. I love the card. I love that I used a really relaxing technique, and I've got lots of dimension. I put dimension behind my craft cardstock, and I put some behind my inlaid die cut heart. So that's how I use that. Now to put my card together for my technique album, I'm just going to attach the other one. Now this one is the one that has the outline piece done in the designer series paper, and I have to be honest, that is not my favorite combination. Like, the designer series paper is on the outside, the solid cardstock is on the inside. I think it's so much prettier when I do it with the solid cardstock as the outline piece, and the pieces tucked in are pattern paper. I think that looks so much prettier. So I'm just going to glue this down. onto my cardstock here, and I've cut my cardstock to 4 by 6 inches because that's the size of the pockets in my technique album. And then I have these printables, and usually I do 4 techniques in a video, at least 4 techniques in a video, but then the videos are really long and I wanted to kind of keep this short. So now you can just come with your trimmer and you can go ahead and trim this down. Print it out on regular copy paper and then just trim it down. You can trim it so you don't get the black lines if you want to, or you can keep the lines if you want to. That's totally up to you. But I love having a technique binder or a technique notebook or something, just because I really love flipping through it. I've got so many different techniques in here, you know, different kinds of embossing, heat embossing techniques. I've got different kinds of masking techniques, ink blending techniques, all kinds of different techniques that I've learned along the way, and I have way more to go. This is actually, I've got embossing folder techniques, lots of embossing folder techniques. I just did those, and then I went through the catalog and did a couple of these techniques. I haven't typed up the papers yet or edited that video, but that's going to be up there soon. And my book is full. That's 49 different techniques. So this is technique number 50. I actually have 2 more cards to put in my next little album. So now I'm just going to add some glue to the back of this one. And this is all ready to slide into my next little album when I get it, because I ran out of these little albums. So I'll be starting album number 2 here, and I'm pretty excited about that because this is actually a really nice resource when you're trying to decide what you want to do, and you have all these things you can flip through and say, oh, I haven't used that technique in a while. So there you go. This is inlaid die cutting. So the technique is named here, then I put the instructions, and then you can actually create a card and do it like that. And there are lots of different ways you can make technique albums, but I love this because it's pretty portable. Instead of making a big binder or something like that, I really love this little technique binder. So friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. And if you're looking for Stampin' Up! Products, you can check online at shopwithkim.net, and I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And here's a sample of the card that I made, so I'm super excited about that. So thank you for watching, friends. I hope you find time to be creative today.